What is up, YouTube? It is Docky Style Gaming or DSG, and we are back at it again with another Anthem video for you today. And on today's video, it is another news video covering everything that Mark Dara has once again gone on and answered more questions on Twitter and everything of that sorts. Now, before I get into that, I will be making another Anthem video in probably 1 or 2 days, answering all the Game Informer questions that the game director of Anthem himself personally went on live and Game Informer and answered. So I have another video about that, but because Mark Dara, like he always does, he's online answering so many questions, I have a bunch of brand new information. Some you might know, but most of it's brand new information to talk about in terms of Anthem. More gameplay, more things that they're going to add, some secret things about the Interceptor and the Storm, which I think are pretty cool. So let's just get into that because this is going to be probably another big video, but hopefully not too long. So I might speak a little fast, but I want to get this video done as fast as possible because I don't want to make y'all watch another 40-something minute long video. So getting that out the way, let's just get straight into it. Now, when asked about free roam, Mark Dara was answering some of the questions, and he mentioned that in free roam, when you're in a team, you will be able to travel individually. Like, you won't be restricted as a team. So if you have a straggler far behind, the map isn't going to restrict you and won't let you progress further. Because somebody's behind, you'll be able to go anywhere in the open world as you please, no matter who's where on the map. So that's something that you'll be able to do. Now, the next point, they did mention that there will be no traveling to other planets in this game, which I do remember them mentioning, I believe, at the EA Play, that everything is going to take place on this world. So it's not a full-on space travel game. So that's something, you know, to kind of take note of. They also talked about the Storm a little bit more, and when they compared them, they compared the Storm to the Biotics from the Mass Effect video game, saying that he has more dynamic combat and a fantastical flair, along with magic-inspired abilities. So we kind of knew that he was the magic-based Javelin in-game, but I guess this is something to kind of give you, you know, something to go off of. The Biotics from Mass Effect is, I guess, similar to what his gameplay will slightly be like in Anthem. And of course, it'll be slightly different, but, you know, that's just something that it may kind of resemble when you're playing the Storm in-game. Now, on the game sharing, they said that you will not be able to game share pre-order bonuses. Now, the way PlayStation works, you'll probably still be able to game share the game itself, meaning you can have another account. And if you want to let your brother play it using yours, if he makes your account primary, at least that's how it works on PlayStation, he'll be able to download Anthem and play as well. But the pre-order bonuses will be for that account. The main account will only get the pre-order bonuses. And considering right now they haven't mentioned any DLC, unless you're just trying to have another friend play the game, I'm not 100% sure why you'd want to game share anyway. But there will be no game sharing of pre-order bonuses. Also, speaking of pre-order bonuses, I'm super happy they actually clarified this and brought this back up. I mentioned it in my last video, but they did confirm now that the pre-order bonus skins you will only be able to get from the pre-order. They won't be obtainable in-game or through missions, grinding, anything like that. So if you want these skins right here, the Legion of Dawn skins, the only way to get that will be through the pre-order bonus in-game, or the pre-order bonus of Anthem, whether it's the standard one that just comes with the Ranger Javelin skin, or if you get the Legion of Dawn edition that comes with all 4 of the base Javelin skins. So that's so pretty much if you want those skins, pre-order the game. Now, this is something that I thought was pretty cool that they mentioned. They were talking about the third and first person perspective in game. Now, when asked about it, they said third person pretty much allows for better control of the Javelin in game, but they did say there was also a fiction tied to the reason why it's third person when you're in the Javelin. And kind of when they were asked about it, they said in the world, the freelancers see themselves from third person, which is weird because you see yourself get in it. But now that they mention it, it's kind of interesting to see how that'll play into the lore of the game, whether it's a drone flying over you or what. But apparently the fact that we see ourselves in third person, there's a reason for that in game. So I thought that was something cool that he actually covered, and not just something that was in there for the gameplay mechanics of the game itself. Now, on to weapons that they covered. They were asked about would all the weapons in game be essentially bullet-based weapons, and he did say no, that there could possibly be energy-based, beam weight-based, and other unique weapons in the game. So don't just expect a bunch of bullet-based projectile weapons in game. There's going to be a bunch of other unique type weapons to experience and play around with in game. Now, on the cutscenes, they did say that all the cutscenes in the game are going to be unskippable, which I know some people might not like, but I mean, if it's your first playthrough anyway, I don't know why you'd want to skip the cutscenes. But they did say that the cutscenes are rare. They said where there are other players around, but I don't know if he meant they're rare when there are other players around. But the way he said it, he said that the cutscenes are rare where there are other players around. But to me, I think he meant when there's other players around, the cutscenes are rare, but they are unskippable. Now, when asked about the javelins themselves, this is kind of a lore-based thing. They were asking about the creation of them, and he did kind of confirm that they were a mix of the javelins, at least, were a mix of magic and technology in the world. Really high advanced technology in that currently today we wouldn't be able to build anything like this, which would lead me to assume that it's probably something having to do with the Shaper artifacts or Anthem of Creation or something along those lines. But they aren't just pure mechanical based javelins or exosuits in game. There's some form of magic behind the creation of them too, lore wise, in game. So this is a kind of a customization question. They were asking if you'd be able to change the Strider's appearance, which are your mobile based operations in game in the world. And all he had to say was, at the moment, no, there aren't plans for it. But again, that could be potentially meaning at some point there might be, but at the moment, no, there isn't any customization for your Striders right now. Now, when asked about the genre of the game, this isn't anything too special, but they asked fantasy or sci-fi, and clearly he said it was science fantasy. Just by looking at the game, the gameplay, that's to be expected. Now, this is something that I'm glad they clarified. I assumed it'd be in the game, but the fact that they clarified it made me kind of happy. They did say that if you don't pick up your drops in the world, in your missions, you'll still actually receive them. So it would probably be similar to Destiny, where if you complete a mission and you miss a couple engrams, when you complete the mission, they'll be sent to your postmaster. So I'm assuming it'll be the same type of gameplay. If you miss an item when you're doing the mission and you complete the mission, it may send it to your inbox, your inventory, or something like that, which I mentioned in the last video. You will have an in-game inventory when you're in your missions. Now, this was something that I thought was interesting, because I don't know how you could do it per se, but apparently you can. And they said you can do combo attacks while you're playing solo, but it's weird to think of you being able to do combos in a solo mission by yourself, when the main reason why they kind of want you to play as a group is for the combo attacks. So I'm not sure how you'd be able to pull them off, but apparently you can do that in game. Now, melees, we did mention a bit of, or I did mention a bit about the melees in my last video, saying that there would be melees in game. We didn't know if they were on a cooldown, and then I did mention they said there will be aerial melee combat as well. Now, they went on to clarify that the melees in game you'll be able to use at any time, all the time. They said they're not technically a javelin ability, which javelin abilities are on cooldown. So your melee abilities you can use whenever you want, and like we've seen, the javelin melee ability for the ranger is the big mace, and then the ground pound for the colossus is his melee attack. We haven't seen yet the storm or the interceptor, but you can use your melees whenever you want, pretty much in the game. Now, on to the next point. They did mention and say that there will be consumables in the game. Now, what will these consumables do? No one knows. I'm assuming health, probably, shields, recharge or something. Maybe it could be an increased loot drop. But considering that you won't be able to regen your health in game, you have to actually get pickup orbs. I'm assuming that one of the consumables for sure will probably be a health consumable. And one of them that I'd like to see would be an infinite stamina consumable for like maybe 5 minutes or something, where you can just fly around the world however long you want with this consumable. I doubt that'll be a thing, but that'd be a pretty cool consumable in my opinion. Now, when asked about, this is more, I guess, of a lore-based question as well. They're asked about the freelancers and where they were from. They did say that the freelancers aren't from Earth, and that the game itself does not take place on Earth, even though the freelancers in the game are considered humans. So make of that what you will. They're humans, but none of this is Earth related, I guess, gameplay, and they're not from Earth. So who knows? They'll probably explain it more in the story, but that was something that they pointed out. Now, for javelins, this is something that I thought was cool, and I'm glad they answered this too. They were talking about the different playstyles of the javelins, and they said that the javelins will have different individual dodges and dashes in game as well. So, as along with their flight or their in movement combat, I should say, their gear abilities and everything like that, they'll also have different dodges and dashes, whether it be in air or on ground in combat. And then this was another question that they cleared up. I mentioned in my last video, they didn't say how many people would be allowed in the open world itself. Like I know Destiny, there's a bunch of people, but each zone is an individual instance. So we weren't sure, but now they did come out and say that there will be 4 people at all times in the open world in the game or in free roam. So 4 people is all you're going to see on the map, whether it's you in a group of 4 people or you're running solo and there's, individuals on the map. It'll just be 4 people total in the open world, which is interesting considering how big the world is. I felt like they could have probably put more in, but apparently right now there's only going to be 4. Now, this was something that was pretty interesting and I thought was kind of cool. They did mention that when aiming down sights on some guns, you might, they said might, but I'm assuming it's actually going to happen. You might be able to let you zoom first person, because right now everything that you do in the open world, you're third person, but some guns will let you zoom in through a first person view. And this kind of ties back into the whole lore wise, you're seeing through the freelancers see themselves in third person. Maybe, like it says, something lore wise, whether you're looking through a weapon or zooming in through a scope, you can zoom in first person. So who knows? But that's something you'll be able to do as well. Now, this was something I thought was funny and they cleared up on. In the most recent trailer of Anthem, we see the Interceptor throwing a grenade, a freeze grenade at that. He did clarify that the grenades are Ranger-specific weapons, even though the Interceptor was shown in the trailer using a freeze grenade. He said the people who made the trailer took creative liberties, so the Interceptor will not have any form of grenades or freeze grenades. Whoever made the trailer decided to do that on their own. So grenades are Ranger specific items, so don't expect to be throwing any freeze grenades as an Interceptor. Now, on to the next part. They said javelin abilities are based on your equipment, and the example that they kind of gave was the Storm. And we know that the Storm is a magic based character. They were talking about interchangeable elements. So if you want to be able to change your abilities, or like I said, the example of the game, the Storm's interchangeable elements, it would be based off the gear that you have equipped on your Storm. So I'm kind of happy about that. Plus, like I said, any new Storm information we get, I'm always happy about, because that appears to be my main in the game when it comes out. Next, they did mention there will be a vault in the game, which, I mean, in most looter games, you would kind of hope there would be a vault, but they didn't say they're not sure. They did say they're not sure how big of the vault space they'll have in the game at the moment, if any, though. So it could be unlimited vault space, but I doubt it. Like, I have yet to see a game where there is true unlimited vault space, but they said that there is going to be a vault in game, and they're not sure if it will have a limit at the moment. So there is a vault. Hopefully it's bigger than Destiny 2. That's all I gotta say. Now, speaking of Destiny, they said they won't be restricting multiple loot rarity when equipped. And what they mean by that, the example that was given was Destiny in their exotic system. Whereas if you have a exotic weapon, you can only have one equipped on your weapon slot. If you have an exotic armor, you can have one equipped on your armor slot. Well, apparently it appears that you'll be able to actually have a full set of, I guess in their terms, the most rarest item in the game that you can get are ancient items. So you can have a full set of ancient weapons and a full set of ancient armor in game. So that's pretty cool. And plus, considering there's no PvP in the game, I can see them doing that because they don't have to worry about trying to tune it for PvP. So I guess they want you to feel as powerful as you are and want the loot that you get. They want you to at least be able to use it and not have to switch and mix and match and determine what you want on your loadout. So That was something that I thought was really cool, that you can pretty much be as powerful as you want when you get the most rare items in the game. Next, they did say, and it kind of ties into the Destiny thing too, what Destiny does, they did say Anthem will have seasonal events like Christmas, Halloween, different stuff like that. They will have seasonal events in the game, similar to how Destiny has like their Dawn and Festival of the Lost and whatnot, stuff like that, Crimson Days and everything like that. And they also mentioned unique Javelin join-in animations. They said it was shown off a slight bit at the very end of the original E3 trailer last year, but they did say that each join-in animation for the Javelins will be unique. So that's pretty cool, and I'm happy that we're seeing that at least. And this was something that they kind of cleared up from my last video that I mentioned, when they said that there would be an in-game currency, but I didn't know if it would be a paid currency for the shop or if it would be a in-game currency that you actually earn in-game. And he did clarify that there will be an in-world currency, so it's not going to be your paid currency for buying cosmetics, though there still might be one unless you just buy it straight up out of the market. But there will be a world currency that you get. You'll probably use these points or coins or currencies to level up gear, get new armor, and whatnot. But there will be an in-world currency. Now, this was something that I thought was really interesting because I've even mentioned it in multiple of my videos because they have talked about it and mentioned it, but they didn't say what for. Now, when asked about cloaking in the game, they did say, well, technically he didn't say, but when asked about cloaking, all he had to say was, we will reveal more about the Interceptor and Storm at a later date. Now, like I already assumed cloaking or stealth, because they did mention there would be a stealth mechanic. I assumed that the stealth mechanic would be for the Interceptor because he's apparently the fastest of them. With a name like the Interceptor, he's meant to probably infiltrate, sneak. He's, like I said, he's super fast, so I assumed he'd be the one with the stealth mechanic. So I thought it was funny when asked about cloaking, all he had to say was, we will reveal more about the Interceptor and the Storm at a later date. So I guess this is more confirmation that at least the Interceptor or Storm, like I said, I'm still speculating Interceptor, will have a cloaking or stealth mechanic in the game. Now, on to the last two questions, or the last two things he kind of answered. He did say that you'll be able to reload while hovering, which, you know, I guess that was just something he kind of clarified. And then the last thing he mentioned that in order to land, you must stop flying, because they were asked if you'd be able to do a dynamic land when you kind of nosedive in the ground, will you do a superhero land? And he pretty much said flying into the ground is considered crashing and you will take fall damage. So in order to stop flying, or in order to land, you have to stop flying in the game. So don't expect to do a superhero landing, even though they said with a Colossus, if you ground pound, you can do that. But if you're on any other Javelin and considering trying to strike a pose when you land, don't. Because there is fall damage, and especially the Storm, they said the Storm can die from fall damage the easiest. So keep that in mind when you're trying to land or fly in game, to just stop flying if you're trying to land, and don't nosedive, because yeah, you might kill yourself in game. So that's everything I got for this video. Like I said, I have another video coming out about the game. It's the Game Informer videos. Pretty much was the people at Game Informer talking to the actual game director of Anthem, and he answered a bunch of questions too. It was like a 45-minute video. He said, I'll try and condense that video into maybe 10-15 minutes, because it was a lot of just, you know, talking and stuff that was already confirmed. So I'll try and gather all the newest information and put that into a video for you guys as well. And that'll be out, like I said, in maybe a day or two. Like I said, I haven't decided when I'm going to post it yet, but I'll have that video out for you guys as well. So that's all we got in this video. Like I said, I'll still be posting more Anthem video, more Anthem news as it comes out. Like I said, thanks for watching. Thanks everybody who subbed, liked, commented. Like I said, we already hit 500 subs. We hit another 100 subs in like 3 to 4 days, which is ridiculous. So thanks for everybody who subscribed, liked, shared all my stuff. You guys are amazing. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.